Let me show you how to easily track nutrition the right way. First tip, make sure you have a good ratio of foods that are easier to track with some foods that are a little bit more challenging to track. I always tell people that the harder it is to measure and track, the more likely it's difficult to eat in a healthy way, right? Like lasagna, hard to track, hard to measure what is what, but also pretty easy to go over your calories with it. So keep the food simple. The easier it is to track, the more likely you'll stick with it, and the more likely it's actually something that's in alignment with your goals, okay? So from there, number 2 tip is plug everything in the app before you actually measure it out. So I've got this here. I'm just going to take a quick picture of some of the ingredients. Then you can either barcode or you can search it in. I always encourage barcode because it's going to pick the specific brand. You'd be surprised, this milk versus that milk, this cheese versus that cheese. So scan the specific food that you have if it has a barcode. If it doesn't have a barcode, then you can type in custom and type out just the fat, carbs, and protein and calories on the back and save that instead. Don't go looking for a random one unless you find one that's pretty close to those numbers. So starting here, I'll hit the barcode, I'll hit scan, and since I'm going to have 2, they're both the same nutrition. Each one is 11 ounces, so I'll type it in as if I had 22 ounces. Okay, then I'm going to add more food. This is where, like I said, track before you weigh it so that you can see how much you're going to have. So, boom, hit that, add, review. Now we're going to add some milk. If you go to Kroger or Fred Meyer or anything like that, I highly recommend the Carb Master Milk Fat-Free. It's almost like pure protein. It's got 0 fat, 3 carbs, and 11 protein per 8 ounces, which is a great ratio. So now I've got all 3 ingredients in there: my protein shake, my protein cereal, and my protein milk. Look at that, lots of protein. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bowl on here. Now, if I just had a serving of each, I'd be at 91 grams of protein, 23 carbs, and 11 fat. That's a heck of a way to get started on the day because I'm already ahead of the game on protein and I'm not taking up too much of my carbs or fats. So now we're on here. I'm going to zero it out. Okay, so the bowl has been zeroed out. Tip number 3, I always encourage switch to grams. You'll notice here it says 1 cup for the cereal. I'm going to change that to grams because a cup is volume and grams is weight. And volume is easy to get inaccurate, but weight, if you have a scale, it's really easy to just be as accurate as possible. That inaccuracy done 2, 3, 4 times per day can add up to 2, 3, 400 calories, and you can think you are in a caloric deficit and really be in a maintenance or a surplus just because you're doing volume instead of weight. I'll also look on the back here and say, well, 1 cup is 42 grams anyway. So I can just start with 42 grams on here, and then let me pour this out until we're at 42. Now, I'm a bit more hungry, and I know that this is already going to be a good ratio. I just worked out, so I do need a little more carbs. So this is why I say put it in here first, and then start weighing it out. Then you can decide if you want to change the number. If, for example, this was way too many calories, then I would put less in there. But I'm going to go, what sounds about good for me, 69 grams. Not bad. Let's go with that. Okay? So now I'll go in here and I'll just change that to 69. Again, tracking it in here first allows me to get a ballpark so I know if this meal is going to work or not. And then it allows me to make those adjustments. Now, I'll zero it out again. Bowl and the cereal are zeroed out. I'm going to add my milk. Sometimes if I'm only doing the cereal and the milk, I am going to add a bit more milk so I can get more protein. But since I'm already going to be getting a lot of protein from these, I'm just going to go to exactly what I enjoy, like the right ratio of milk. Make sure that this can go to grams if it can. See, Turns out this one can't go to grams, okay? No big deal. We're gonna have to go with fluid ounces and do our best here. Now, something to keep in mind, I wanna show you something. Ounces in weight is not the same as ounces in fluid. So that is something to keep in mind. I'm gonna pour 8 ounces in here first. Get as accurate as I can with it. And let's see if the ounces of fluid is 8 ounces on the scale. So, see, 8.6. The reason why is milk is more dense than water. 8 fluid ounces of water will be 8 ounces of weight as well. They are the 1 for 1. That's actually what ounces are created off of. But ounces of milk, a bit more dense than water, is going to be 8.6. While this says 8 fluid ounces, this says 8.6 ounces. I actually am going to keep it at 8 ounces because that's what I measured for the volume. Okay? Now, that's everything. That's the meal. So, now I can confirm that it looks good. Hit save. This took me 7 minutes just to show you, but if I did it really quickly, this takes 45 seconds, okay? It doesn't take very long. There are some nuances to it, and if you don't get those nuances down, you may find that you're doing a lot of work, but not doing enough work to get it done. I oftentimes think of the example, the boiling point of water. Water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. At 210 degrees, it is not boiling. At 211 degrees, it is not boiling. You could be doing all this work to heat up the water and not see a change until you hit that 12th degree. So make sure you aren't putting all that work in to just do a 211 degrees. Make sure you're doing the work to make it boil, okay? So if you're going to do it right. If you're gonna track nutrition at all, weigh it out, weigh it correctly, track it correctly. There are different strategies for you to stick with your nutrition. But don't track if you're not going to track accurately. And if you don't know how, get help, right? Hire a coach, talk to someone who's done it before. There are some nuances to it that you just may not know in the beginning. So hope that was super helpful. And again, maybe it seems like a lot, but it's your body. And if it takes learning a little bit to learn how your body works, to learn how to fuel your body and how to accomplish your goals, once you learn it, you've got it forever, right? So invest in your health, reach out, get a coach. I'm a coach. Reach out to me if you need help with your nutrition, your fat loss, muscle gain, strength gain. There's a way to do it, and oftentimes it's not always obvious. So reach out, please. I encourage you.